to another edition of the Gator Nation Football Podcast Film Review. I am your host, James DiVirgilio. This is going to be Florida's defense versus Tennessee's offense. And if you've followed me for any amount of time, you know I love Tennessee's offense. It's very similar to what I would run if I was coaching in college. I love the wide splits. I love 2-on-1ing safeties and corners. I love putting athletes in space, and I love making things easy for the quarterback. All of those things were on display for this game. Unfortunately, of course, I'm a Florida grad, and therefore this was not anything pretty. I've been chronicling bad defense for Florida now for several years. I'd like to stop doing that. Unfortunately, this film is not going to alleviate those concerns. Now, my job here is not to pick on any one individual player. In fact, the goal of film review is actually to make every single player better. If a player is struggling on film, they either need to be replaced with someone else that's doing better on film, or they need to learn and practice and prove they can handle the concepts that are out there. So I think it's really important that my goal is never to pick on any one individual player, and I would hope that that's not anyone else's goal either. These are college athletes, whether they're being paid or not paid is irrelevant. The goal here of film, again, is really to be educational. It's feedback, and failure is often the best teacher. We all fail at things. Players fail too. You have to learn. If you're not learning, someone else should get a shot. So with that being said, as always, if you enjoy this content, follow us on social media. You can support the podcast by dropping a dono on Patreon, and you can check out our podcast each and every Monday. We break down the Gators in depth and their performances and all that comes with being a major football program. All right, this film should come with a warning. It's ugly. It's very ugly. There's blown coverages. There's rarely anything super good. Tennessee torches Florida all over the place, and it probably could have been worse. But as I've said before, it's important to watch because certainly I'm hopeful that things are going to get better over time and not worse. And we're at the beginning of a journey to progress as a defense. There's a lot of stuff I did not like about this scheme. I'll talk about that throughout this breakdown. I talk a lot more about it on the podcast, but largely the personnel, of course, making plenty of mistakes as well. So again, fasten your seatbelt for this one. Not a lot of pretty stuff on the film, but important to look at and something we'll appreciate if in the future our defense makes significant progress and we no longer have to watch some of the stuff we've been watching for the past couple of years. All right, let's hop right in and see what awaits us. Leading up to this week, I had talked about the need for Florida to adopt Pitt's strategy against Tennessee. Pitt played 28 snaps of cover 0 against Tennessee, 7 snaps of cover 1, and just 7 snaps in other defenses. Florida comes out early, and again, we like to look at the first play to kind of see what their base strategy is, and they're going to try to stay too high, which is going to be a safe strategy, essentially telling Tennessee, we're comfortable playing our base defense against you, we're going to make you beat that. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, but as this film goes on, you're going to see this strategy did not work, partly due to execution errors by Florida's defense. And also just in general, I think this strategy, although it can work if you're a superior team, let's say like Alabama, who might employ a similar strategy against Tennessee this very season, Florida does not have that kind of talent or consistency on defense right now. And attempting to play this way, I think, caused Florida some problems, especially since Tennessee and their wide splits here, as I've talked about before, especially on this week's offensive video, puts a lot of pressure on you to cover the entire football field. This is one reason why Heupel's offense is in fact so good. He's going to make the numbers game very, very simple. Here you have your offensive line, which is 5, plus your running back and a quarterback. That's going to be 7. In a 2x2 set here, they are demanding that you make a choice. You can play this man if you want, and if you play that man, you can give yourself 2 extra players in the box, and that would essentially be your cover 0. That's what Pitt elected to do. They elected to challenge Hooker by playing in that particular way. I think that's the way Florida should have played this game. Florida chose not to do that. Instead, Florida chose to play undermanned in the box for most of this game, daring Tennessee to run the football, which can be a fine strategy if you can stop them from running the football. All right, early on, you're going to see a smash concept here. So you're going to get a corner route and then really just a little out route here from Tennessee, knowing they're facing cover 2 on this side. And then here it is. So Bernie's going to trap here. Marshall's going to play both of this. He's going to split the difference between the corner and then this out route, giving up this out route. That's what you're going to give up here in this particular defense. Hooker's going to open up right away, take the snap. Just take a look at this. He's reading this window right here, and he's going to see where Marshall goes. If Marshall keeps backpedaling, he's going to stick this out route, which is exactly what he does. Ball's on time. Nice gain on first down. Tennessee has a very good first down offense. It's one of the reasons why they're successful. And right out of the gate, they get a look that they like, and the game begins. 2nd down and 11, Florida again electing to play 3-on-2 here and here, telling Tennessee, we dare you to run the football. We know that you want to pass the football, when in reality, Tennessee actually runs the football more than they pass it. They just tend to throw it deep, obviously quite a bit. If you're going to do that, which is perfectly fine, you have got to make sure that your defensive line does not lose the edge. You cannot lose the edge here because you have no help. Take a look. There is no help here because we're playing 3-on-2 defense all the way down the field. So Tennessee's going to send vertical routes out. You now have to make sure you maintain your integrity. Cox is doing this here. It's a good job, Brenton. And who's not doing this is a guy who was all over the film in the past 2 weeks doing this very same thing, and that's Princely. So if I'm the D-line coach for Florida, I've got major issues with what's going on here with Princely as he's not learning his lesson. There is no one else here to help him out. He cannot, under any circumstance, take this inside lane and lose the edge. By doing so, we now have nothing out here. It's 2nd down and 11. You are playing an advantage defense 3-on-2. You have the advantage here. You have everything that you need in this situation. Right? In fact, you're actually playing 3-on-1 up here. Sorry, you're playing 3-on-1 up here and 3-on-2 down here. You're playing a safe pass defense, which means you got to tell your defensive ends, if anything, let them stand back there for 2 or 3 seconds, but do not get beat to the outside. We cannot get beat to the outside. You have to stay in your gaps, make sure you can tackle him in the event he tries to escape. But Florida being Florida, Princely being Princely at times this season is going to wind up on the ground over here. Now everyone else has done their job. Dexter's getting double teamed in his gap. Dez held the middle here. You've got Ventrell who's gaining separation, who's able to make a play if there's any edge control at all, which there isn't, and Cox is holding his edge. Princely's not. If one player does something wrong, this is what happens in football. It's why I love this game. It's why I like breaking down film. Football is the ultimate team game. 10 guys did something right. 1 guy did something very wrong. The pass defense was good. We have what we needed, except on 2nd and 11, it turns into an automatic first down because one guy goes rogue. Something that Florida's been doing all season long and for many years now. Will the staff get it cleaned up? We'll see. I have high hopes that they will, but they're dealing with a lot of bad habits from these players that have been doing this for quite some time. This play seems to epitomize so many issues with Florida's defense right now. Certain players doing things that we've seen repeatedly that just are not good. Here's Trevez, a guy who's been on film for not the right reasons on most weeks. He's going to come crashing down here as though he's going to take this, only to then not actually take that. At the same point in time, Trey Dean is going to come crashing down here as if he's on the running back, but that's what Bernie thinks he's doing. So now we have 2 players covering a running back who's actually in pass protection initially, and now we have Trey Dean who is coming down to cover him, but now is going to cover him and is now effectively covering nobody. He winds up being wide open. And now across the board here, Ventrell is going to locate late where the actual route is going, and now he is covering no one. No one, no one, no one. He's got the running back. So there's 3 players right away on a defense of 11 guys covering nobody. Now again, this scheme here could have been fine. We get the switch wrong. Now you got Hooker standing back there nice and tall, delivering a pass where your safety has to come down and make yet another tackle. Of course, Torrance had a ton of tackles in this game, and that's what happens when the rest of your defense continues to blow assignments and get things wrong. If you're Trey Dean, what's happening here? What's happening here is you've lost the thread for what you're doing on this play. Your job is not the running back on this play, and now you are standing with your popcorn watching this play go on. Look, that's frustrating on film review. As a coach, this has to be frustrating, right? Again, I don't love this scheme, like we've talked about. One reason I don't love it is it's not going to put Hooker under pressure. Hooker can be inaccurate. He can struggle under pressure. This gives him time, but if you're going to give him time, you got to cover. So the previous play we saw, they covered it, didn't do well up front. Now we're fine up front, and we blow it here in the back end. So Florida's defense obviously is anything but consistent right now, and that's what largely led to such easy plays from Tennessee. This is not a complicated route, but this is the benefit of spreading the field completely east to west wide, sending one guy in motion and giving the defense a chance not to be able to ID what they're going to do. And this simple motion here worked, and it gave them a wide open dig route here for the first down. 2nd and 15 now for Tennessee. Florida again is going to play 3-on-2, and then Florida over here is going to do the same thing and play 3-on-2. You'll see it happen. The drawing is kind of wonky, but you're going to see it. 2nd and 15, here we go. 3-on-2, right? There's Dean, there's Bernie, there's Helm. So we're 3-on-2 and 3-on-2, which means we're again light in the box, right? We're light in the box because they have 5 linemen plus a running back, so there's 6 versus our 5, which means what can we not do? We can't be undisciplined with our edge control. Well, here comes Cox coming in really hard on this pass rush on 2nd down and 15. Here's Ventrell coming in here to guard the running back, right? That's his responsibility. And what do we have? Another escape, and 2nd and 15 turns into 3rd and short. If you are going to play advantage numbers in the pass game, your defensive line has got to understand that. They have to know that they cannot free rush this. You cannot bull rush this around the end because you do not have any help. Now, what's frustrating doing these film reviews is this is very basic football. This is day one install, day one football. This is Pee Wee League stuff. This is what you have to be doing. It's not getting done. That's extremely frustrating. I can't tell you what's being communicated or not communicated, but if I'm Patrick Toney, if I'm a defensive line coach, this is making me pull my hair out, right? I cannot have this. I have to be telling my defensive line when we are in this kind of formation, we are playing this type of defense, if this is our strategy, you have got to sit here. Your goal is not so much to sack him early on as it is to let these initial routes expire covered up. Once the initial routes expire covered up, now it's sandlot ball, which is to Florida's advantage. Tennessee wants to throw the ball on time, much like any offense. You need to hold this gap first. By bull rushing here, good seal here, your linebacker occupied on the running back, that's what happens. So again, Florida, 2nd and 15, chance to make a play, unable to do so because of a lack of fundamentals. Unfortunately, CBS is going to be late to get into this play, so we're going to start it right here. But Florida's going to play man defense here. Florida's in cover 1 man. There's your safety. Cover 1 man. And now, why is Tennessee's offense so potent? Well, if Florida's in cover 1 man, how many guys does Florida have rushing? Let's count them up, right? 1, 2, in this case 3, 4, 5. So we're hat on hat. Now that can be fine. If you're a dominating front 7 and you're good to go, you're fine. But this is the 6th man. So we're hat on hat football right here. Everyone's got a man. And Hooker has nobody in his way. This is a large reason, or a major reason, I should say, why Pitt played cover 0. If you move your safety in here and you trust your cover guys to play defense like this, then you force Tennessee into tougher situations. Now, most defensive coordinators don't want to play cover 0. It's uncomfortable, right? There's no safety blanket. But again, a team that spreads you all the way out like this asks some difficult questions of you. Another reason why I really like this offense. And if you have top athletes, which Tennessee does not have yet, they're playing down their best receiver, but imagine they have, Ohio State or Alabama's athletes or Georgia's athletes, things become very different with this offense. And I think that's the fear for other teams in the SEC is you don't want to see Tennessee with a bunch of excellent playmakers because this kind of stuff's going to be really uncomfortable. But for right now, again, Pitt was able to execute an effective strategy by not playing so safe in these situations because playing safe, Tennessee knows that they've got hat on hat, and that's going to wind up being a very easy first down. This stuff is just too easy here early on in the first drive. A staple of Tennessee's offense is, of course, playing coverage beaters if they know what you're in. So in this example, Florida could be in a cover 2, right? If the corners stay low, let's say they're going to stay low, could be in a cover 2, or they could bail into a cover 4. And you're always looking to run beaters against these coverages so that you can get an easy play, and that's what's going to happen here. They're going to run each of the top of these receivers off, and then they're going to sit these receivers short, knowing that if Florida's in a cover 4 on 1st and 10, Florida's going to give, and you can see it here, Tennessee this throw. They're going to give it to them all day, and Tennessee's going to take it. That's 5 free yards, clean, easy pocket, easiest throw you can imagine, right? This is simple football. This is why you run these tactical plays, these coverage beaters. Ball's thrown to the inside, receiver turning inside to get leverage. Here's Helm making a weak sauce tackle attempt. He's late to the ball. Then there's Miller, though. I shouldn't say weak sauce tackle attempt. Helm, is fine there. He's into cover 4. If you're wondering what's going on with Helm, that's not actually his fault in this situation. He's playing cover 4. His job is to make sure nothing goes deep over him. He's going to give this throw up. Florida's going to give that up by design. Comes in here, wraps up, gets taken for a ride. Hence the weak sauce tackle attempt. But Ventrell Miller comes in, punches this ball out, right, and earns a Florida turnover on what's going to be another first down. It's a 13-yard gain right there. Instead, Florida does get the football. And things like this were going to have to happen for Florida to be able to be competitive in this football game. And early on, Florida gets one. So we're in business after Tennessee dominates this first drive. Florida's in business. Probably was going to be a touchdown for Tennessee if they don't have that own self-inflicted wound. He knows it, right? We're driving down the field so easily. I can't believe I just did that. And Florida gets off the field in a 0-0 game. All right, 1st and 10. Florida is in cover one man here after Florida misses the field goal. We're going to lock up, cover one man. So we're out of our too high. Second drive. First drive wasn't working. Let's try something slightly different. If you're in cover one man and you're a linebacker and the running back is on your side, he's going to be your guy. Shamar James is a freshman. Shamar James forgets that's his guy. That's unfortunate because this is going to make a play that, again, how easy is this if you're Hooker, right? Throw behind the line. This is the angle right here that Perkins has to take. Perkins is a guy I like on film. He pops. He has to take this outside angle. Why? His linebacker's supposed to be there on the inside. He's doing the right thing here by forcing him back into the inside. Unfortunately, literally no one is there. And we're off to the races, and we're picking up another 13 or 14 yards. And we're also taking no punishment for this. Just a slight little tackle. So Tennessee is just rolling down the field on Florida. Fun fact early on in the game here, both teams were driving down, yet not scoring points. We'll see if Tennessee gets points on this particular drive. In this case, Florida, again, now going to go back to their too high look. They're going to keep 6 in the box. Tennessee has switched. They were in 2-by-2 sets to start the game. They have now exchanged that instead for a tight end, putting them in 11 personnel, 1 tight end, 1 running back, 3 receivers, which means they have now 6 in the box, 7-8. 7-8, right? And Florida going to stay small here with 6. So again, if you're Alabama, dominant defensive front 7, or a team that has a dominant defensive front 7, you're Georgia, you're a squad that can do this, this might be just fine for you. Playing down 2 men here might be just fine for you, right? You might be okay. Florida, not okay. We know that this has been a huge weakness for Florida. So here we go. Let's see how this works out for them. We now are going to run play. Why? Because Tennessee knows they have an advantage. We're not even going to use Hooker. We're going to use just our +1 advantage here. Roll to the outside, right? Big Dez is going to win this battle. Look, Big Dez chucks his man off, controls this gap. Unfortunately, we're blown. I mean, we're just blown off the ball here. I mean, we're blown. I mean, look at this. I mean, we're blown just we're 4 yards back now, right? And then there's a tackle attempt by Burney and a first down. All the while, you have 2 safeties here in Torrance and Dean, who by design are not playing the football game. I mean, look what's going on here, right? Nothing. Tennessee knows they're running the football. Nothing's happening. So you have 2 players that are totally wasted. Again, this is why Pitt played cover 0. Bring these guys in here. Now you have +2, make them throw the ball. Versus your one-on-one matchups, get pressure, you might change the game. Either way, Florida elected not to do that, playing only 1 snap of cover 2, and allowed Tennessee to feel quite comfortable, I think, in reality all game long. Florida's going to stay the same. After that first down pickup, they're going to stay the same, still playing 3-on-2 here in the passing game, 2-on-1 at the bottom of your screen, which you can't see. We're going to be 6 versus 8 here in the box. 6 versus 8 in the box. Tennessee is going to want to pass anyway because Tennessee feels like it doesn't really matter. They don't have to follow the numbers here. They feel comfortable on 1st and 10 getting what they want. Florida's going to counter here by putting pressure on Hooker. Now, you don't see this very often. Dexter gets double-teamed almost every single game. Here he's not double-teamed, and you can see what happens when he's not double-teamed. He's going to drive this guard way back, right? This is a one-on-one win. Florida doesn't see a lot of these opportunities, largely because we play 3-4. We often play underman fronts, and we play against the numbers. But here's a scenario where he's going 1v1. He creates a gap, which allows for a mistake to be made here. They don't pass this off correctly, and in comes Shamar James, showing off his athleticism and burst, getting to the quarterback and getting a sack. So a big play by Florida. And again, this is fine. This is fine. If you're going to play advantage on the back end, then you need to take advantage of teams when they choose to pass against the numbers. So Tennessee is playing against the numbers here. You must make them pay for that. Florida does here on first down. All right, 2nd and 16. Florida now is going to play cover 1. Going to play more aggressive here on 2nd and 16. We have 6 in the box versus their 7. So this is going to be a more even numbers situation for Florida. Motion out. Shamar this time is going to follow. Good work here. Motion back in. He's going to follow him back in. They're just checking to see if Florida's in man or not. They're confirming that. Now we get a little bit of a switch with the defensive line. No big deal. Shamar now over here. Let's make sure we still stay in man. All right. Nice little change by Florida. So what Florida does here is make this look like man. Make this look like man, but actually we go to zone. Now this is a nice play. One of the things you want to do against Tennessee, we talked about it leading into the week, is if you're going to play zone, it better be tricky. They better not know what's happening until the post snap, and after the post snap, it better be something that really messes with the quarterback's first read. That's accomplished on this play. This is a really nice play design on 2nd and 16. We're going to drop here, right? We're going to drop our end back here. We're only going to send 3. We're going to keep Bernie here, spying the quarterback in case he wants to run. And this is a nice play design, right? Shamar's here. This is a win for Florida. Take a look what we have here. Our dropper, Powell, is in this window, right? He's in the window. He's going to try to make a play that he can't make. But again, he's a defensive end. He's not used to covering, but Florida will get better at this. He could make a tackle, but no worries because you got Dean, your strong safety. Should be one of your best tacklers on the team coming down. And no, not going to get that one. Off to the races. 2nd and 16 becomes a first down when Florida actually has a perfectly fine play call on here, right? Look at this. This is a 5-yard gain. Let's say we tackle him here. It's a 6-yard gain. It's 3rd down and 9 or 10. You'll take that all day long. Perfectly fine. And in fact, could have been a pick, right? He's in great position here. Could be a pick. You're forcing him into a bad throw here. Good play call from Florida. Bad execution leads to another first down for Tennessee. All right, it's tough. It's tough for Shamar James here. No picking on him. He's a freshman. This is a lot. Look, being a linebacker is very, very difficult. In high school or pee wee ball, you probably just read the running back. As you get to college, reading the running back is really going to mess you up because they're going to run a lot of fakes using the running back. So you might want to look at the center or the guard in front of you to get a read. The offensive line generally gives you a better read. Ideally, if you're in the NFL, you're going to look at all 3, right? But you can see how Tennessee is able to take advantage here of Shamar James. First, we're going to move our H back over here. Shamar's going to go with him. Now, Trey Dean's going to come down to this edge. And now Shamar's going to recognize he's come back over here, but the running back's also going this way. So Shamar's got 2 things that can trick him, and he is tricked. He thinks the running back has the ball. He's tricked. He's now stuck here, right? Now Trey Dean comes over to take the running back. Shamar knows, oop, I'm supposed to be back over here. Bernie, who doesn't get fooled, but also just generally doesn't scrape super well, is here. Now he's going to get engaged here. He's holding the edge line. But this is where your other linebacker should be. And this has been plaguing Florida, obviously, consistently, is you need to have Shamar James get to this proper gap. He's not there, right? He's not there. And if he is there, he's filling this gap right now. Right now he's in this gap. He's unblocked. He's in this gap. It's a 2-yard gain. Instead, it's a first down. So there's big differences there. Again, being a freshman linebacker is extremely difficult. You're going to expect these things to happen. It just is what it is for Florida in that situation. You'd much rather see Shamar James making those mistakes, obviously, than other players, because, again, you'd expect that. All right, here's Bernie. Bernie is best when he is blitzing or putting pressure into the backfield in general. He's a very athletic guy. It's why a lot of people had higher hopes for him coming in. He hasn't quite panned out at the more technical details of linebacking, but when you send him in there, he does have a good feel for this. Going to knife his way in. Here he comes. He's going to stick this running back here for a loss. Justice Boone, number 12, a guy who's been showing up on film very nicely, is going to get in here as well. Notice how he holds this edge coming in. Very, very nice. This is a good play for Florida. So a tackle for loss and a good play for Florida, setting up a 3rd down. So 3rd and 7, Florida going to elect to bring Torrance in here to cover instead of Dean, which I think is generally a good idea, although Torrance is obviously not as good of a cover guy as he is as a true free safety. But I would still rather go 0 here and bring him in, and maybe not Dean, but somebody else ideally. All right, let's get Kamari in there perhaps, or really anyone else. But let's try someone else in this spot for reasons I've chronicled for years. But regardless, why do I like 0 here? Because 0 allows me to pressure the quarterback. I want to put pressure on my quarterback here, and he's wasted. A team that spreads you out like Tennessee, spreading you out all the way across the field, you can't even see him on the camera over here, knows this safety is doing nothing. We're close to the goal line. He's literally going to do absolutely nothing. All the plays and all the routes they run are away from him. So he's going to be a spectator. There's not a thing he can do about it. Nice example here of this play. So Torrance is going to try to funnel him to his help here in Dean. Torrance is going to stay way too far off this route. I mean, this is a layup, right? Look at this. It's a freebie for Hooker. I mean, come on. Now, Hooker's got to get rid of this ball a little earlier, but he can't because credit should be given where credit is due. Shamar James is in that window. Now, Shamar has a much better feel for playing pass defense thus far, which would make sense. That's something that applies than he does for other things. He's in this window, which is nice. Hooker would like to throw this ball right now. He's in this window. Florida knows that's a likely route they want to run. They're bringing pressure here with Cox up the middle, which I also like, except this is too much gap. Here's your wasted safety. Who is he covering? No one. However, Torrance makes a nice separation because Hooker's ball is behind, right? If his ball is here, that's a catch. It's behind his target. That's incomplete. So the major thing that plagues Hendon Hooker is he's not all that accurate, despite the fact that he has a lot of wide open receivers and easy pockets. So Tennessee now with 2 good drives, kind of their own worst enemy here, coming away with only 3 points as they get stopped here on 3rd down. Florida's still very much in the football game. All right, Florida with the lead. We're feeling good. I'm way up high in this stadium here in Neyland watching. We've dodged a lot of bullets. Tennessee gets the ball back. A simple little motion here. And what do we get? Play fake. Oh, somebody's open. What happened here? Torrance doing what a safety should do is just don't let this be a touchdown. Stop him anywhere. Stops him, right down there at about the 3 or 4 yard line. And Tennessee's in business. So much for momentum, right? Let's see what happened on this play. All right, all 22 camera, courtesy of CBS here. We can see what goes wrong with this play. And if you guessed Trey Dean, you're going to guess correct. This is a very simple motion. Florida is in cover 1 man. Cover 1 man. There's a motion across. Now, the rules here for Florida, right? They could be stay on your man. That's fine. That's a reasonable rule. It could be that Florida's playing cover 3, in which case Moore's going to bounce over here, a true freshman. He's going to make sure he takes the edge, right? I'm going to tell you it doesn't matter because I want to show you what's going to happen here. Now, Moore's going to play man. So Florida's in man. We're in man, right? Take a look. We're in man. Everyone's in man. There's your safety. Everybody's in man. Now, these are your linebackers who are not in man because they're playing underneath, but he's in man. And he is a man, and he's wide open. So what goes wrong here? 2 things can happen. 2 things can happen here. 1, Florida can choose, and the communication between both of them can be, hey, right? Could be switch or could be stay. Switch or stay, whatever you want. Fine, switch. Great, switch. That's my man now, and this is obviously your man now. Great. Now Dean's going to point, hey, there's something going on over here. This guy over here. Okay, great. And then Dean is going to become a spectator like me in the stands, just kind of guarding the 30-yard line here, making sure things are safe. We're also guarding no one down here either, right? And this goes to show you the power of Tennessee's offense in general. Is like we need a bigger drop here if we're going to stop this route. But regardless, Dean is watching and guarding no one. Moore is playing straight man defense. Moore's a freshman. He rarely ever gets anything wrong on film. Dean is the guy who historically has put a lot of stuff on film like this, unfortunately, and Torrance already knows I have to get over here and stop this. So this is a gift for Tennessee. Just when you're putting pressure on them, Tennessee fans are a little antsy. They haven't got enough points given how they've been driving. You simply blow this call entirely. Stand still. Watch the ball float all the way over your head for a huge gain for Tennessee. So blown coverage there on Trey Dean. No doubt that's his fault. There's, again, multiple ways that Moore or Dean could have exchanged it, but regardless, there was no world where Dean is just standing there. There is no world in this situation with this coverage where Dean is just standing there. So unfortunately for Dean, this look on film, not a great one. All right, 2nd and goal for Tennessee. You're going to get the mini camera up here, unfortunately, and then we're going to get the big view. It's rumored that Ventrell Miller played this game with some sort of fracture in his foot, so we're going to give him a pass here. He's working his way to hopefully Hooker, and then he gets tripped right there, which is not going to allow him to turn into Hooker. Torrance is doing his job. We saw last week issues against USF where Florida was not doing their jobs. Torrance has to stay on him, which he does. Torrance cannot break off here. He has to stay here and trust his linebacker to get there. Miller is coming across to get there, gets tripped right there, unable to make a tackle, and Hooker walks in the end zone, putting Tennessee right back in the lead after maybe a minute of real time. All right, here's a play Tennessee's going to run specifically designed for Cox. Again, Florida's staying back in the 2 high, playing safe here, +1 numbers, 4v3, +2 numbers over here, right? So we're feeling good on the back end. And this is a run play again designed for Cox. We're going to motion in the tight end. He's going to come across. Florida likes to do a lot of scrape exchanges where they're going to aggressively send the defensive end into the backfield, try to blow this play up. And then right here, we're going to have the scrape exchange, except this is a really well-designed play because he is just going to chip Cox, knowing that Cox's tendency is to overplay this to the inside. There's your chip. Now Cox is on the inside, and now he can basically get a 2-for-1, right? The chip on Cox. Now he can go against your edge defender who did the right thing. He did the exact right thing here. This is correct. He now engages this. This is also correct. And if Cox hadn't done what he does, then we're good, right? We're fine here. This is going to be a tackle. He takes him off to the outside, which is fine. Unfortunately, that's going to wind up being a big gain on first down. So this is Scooby. So let's give Scooby some credit here, right? This is a good play by Scooby. On film, this is good. Scrape exchange, get to the outside, engage the outside shoulder, strongly hold him at the line of scrimmage, give time for your tackler to get there. This is good work by Scooby. Good stuff on film by him. But again, all it takes is one guy doing slightly the wrong thing. That's a tough play for Cox. Look, in football, sometimes the offense makes a good play. But that is a play designed for his tendencies. So Tennessee is showing off their tactical acumen there in play design for this specific game. One of the most encouraging things about Florida's program this year, despite a lot of ugly stuff on film, is their freshmen and their young guys have been playing very well. The guys Napier's brought in are playing good football with their opportunities. Here is Chris McKellen, a huge and true freshman, getting a nice play. You're going to get a better angle here in a second. He's going to throw off his one-on-one matchup, get into the backfield, and make a tackle for loss. And here comes the angle I was talking about. Let's watch him go to work. He's working one-on-one here with the center, and he's going to cast the center aside. Goodbye, center. Clear space, get to the ball carrier. Explode, get to the ball carrier. That's the kind of plus stuff you want to see. Here's Scooby Williams, next ball. Let's watch Scooby. Had a hard time against USF. Look at him cleanly scrape across here. Cleanly scrape across and get this tackle. While Bernie, who's actually the outside linebacker, is going to elect to come in here, which is not where this play is going. A better read is made by Scooby. He's out there to make help, right? As is, take a look here, right? Kamari. So there's 3 super young guys all making the tackle there. This is what's encouraging for Florida, is you'd much rather see the guys the staff is bringing in having success, doing what they're told, and have the older guys who have struggled under previous regimes and are struggling now struggle, because it tells you that the coaching is landing on some people, the execution is improving on some people, and that tells you the coaching itself is not just blanketing everyone doing wrong techniques, right? And so this is a nice play by Florida, nice highlights here by 3 freshmen. All right, 3rd and 5, Tennessee is going to elect to go trips to one side with a stack set here. Florida is going to go single high again, and they're going to play cover 1 man. Now, this is just fine, but what am I telling you? You're wasting this safety, right? I would have liked to have seen Florida be a lot more aggressive like Pitt was. Pitt would often just bring defenders right here and sit and throw windows. Tennessee wanted and dared them to take this throw instead. Florida elects not to do this. They're trusting their coverage guys. Here's Trevez. This is the matchup Tennessee wants all the way. It's the only thing Hooker is looking at. Hooker's been getting a lot of love and acclaim, obviously. I don't want to pour cold water on Hooker. I guess I'm going to pour a little bit on him. But Heupel's system is so good that most of the time, Hooker's not really reading much. And I'm not going to take away from him. I'm just going to say that it's hard to evaluate him as a prospect right now, because here he's going to open up and see the safety. He just is going to stare down his one-on-one matchup and throw the ball. Good ball by Hooker. Now look, he's doing a nice job running this system, but often he is throwing to wide open receivers due to their scheme. So I think it's going to be tricky to tell what Hooker is really made of until he faces a team that creates more pressure on him. Again, much like what Pitt did, I think, his inaccuracies, his issues when he has pressure. I think those things right now lead me to believe this is more system than just him, but he is a good player. He torched Florida. And again, him in this system is definitely a very nice match for Tennessee at the moment. Him versus Trevez is a good match. Most teams versus Trevez, unfortunately, one-on-one is a good match, and yet Trevez continues to play as Florida's kind of starting nickel. I don't understand that either. I'd rather put anyone else out there, especially in man. Put a different DB out there. Why don't you just line up Kimber out there in that situation and play man, right? Take one of your actual corners and put him out there. Put more out there. I thought Florida would have benefited from being more creative in their game plan here. If you're going to play a lot of man, just put your best man cover guys out there, period. Florida perhaps thinks Trevez is their best cover guy. I don't know. But on film, it would indicate otherwise. First down and 10. Here's Scooby Williams, the freshman, playing linebacker here. Big progression from him from last week to this week. Reading the play. Get the arms out early. This is key. Don't be a passive linebacker, right? Don't let him engage with you. Engage with him first. Get your arms out here first. Control the engagement so that you can now separate and make a tackle. Separate, tackle. Bingo. Right? Now look, that's 3 or 4 yards, but that's good linebacker play. That's the kind of stuff you want to see. Nice job, Scooby. Way to put some good stuff on film. Once again, getting in there on the tackle is Kamari Wilson. 2nd and 6, Tennessee back in the 11 personnel, so we've got 8 here. Florida now going to counter with 7. So Florida getting a little bit more aggressive, recognizing Tennessee is running well against them. Something we've seen all year is if Florida puts the numbers in the run game, and especially if it's the right personnel, they actually can be quite successful. We got a young lineup here. Here's McClellan. Here's Justice Boone. Guys who've been showing up nicely on film. Let's watch how this plays out. They're going to leave McClellan unblocked on the edge, but Justice Boone is going to drive. Watch this here. Going to drive that left tackle. Bam! Drive him back 4 yards into the backfield. That's going to really blow this play up. Then we're going to get nice pursuit from Burney and Torrance on the edge there. Torrance is going to go engage the edge. That's going to lead Burney to take the inside, extend this play to the sideline, and a play, yet again, another tackle for loss. So 2 nice plays in a row here from Florida on run defense. All right, 3rd and 8 for Tennessee. I'm going to roll this play because we are going to get the all-22 look here at the end. Hooker rolls out to his right and has a chance to really punish Florida as Scooby comes off of that coverage. And that pass is incomplete. Florida dodging a bullet. Let's see what happens on this play. Florida lining up here early in what you would presume to be potentially a zone defense, especially since nobody is lined up here over the slot receiver or the tight end. And that is exactly what's going to happen. Again, this is a nice design. This is what Tony typically does best. He designs these creeper plays very nicely. So Florida showing simulated pressure early on. They might bring a lot, they might bring nobody, and then they're going to creep it out. Here's 4, here comes your 5th. So we're going to get a zone blitz right here. Here comes Kimber dropping back into zone. Here comes Kamari, who's going to rotate here, and they're going to high-low this route. So we're high-lowing this route, right? Then we're going to slide over here and play essentially a matchup zone, denying an in-breaking route here, denying an in-breaking route here, playing underneath this route here with Trevez at the sticks and over the top here, right, at safety. This is a very nice play design by Florida. The only problem here is what's been plaguing them so many times, plagues them again. Boone here gets a nice drive. He's driving back. He's trying to squeeze the edge. Unfortunately, he's too far squeezed inside. And now Hooker is able to roll out. Now, here's the trick. Should Scooby have peeled off of the tight end in this situation? And the answer is no. He should not have, right? In this scenario, he needs to stay on his man until Hooker crosses this line of scrimmage. So this is a mistake here by Scooby. This is not his fault. If he takes this off and he runs, that's not his fault because he's got to play this here, right? That's what has to be done. Now, once he crosses, and Trevez is doing this better here. It should be noted Trevez is doing this better as an underneath defender. Of course, he's not locked up with one guy, but Trevez is going to have to go as soon as he crosses the LOS there. Then Trevez goes and makes this tackle. Now, this works out for Florida, but in this situation, Scooby peels off when he shouldn't, comes down to put pressure on the quarterback, and this could have been a huge play for Tennessee, almost certainly a touchdown or something very close to it. And Florida dodges this bullet right here thanks to that poor ball from Hooker, setting up a 4th and 8. All right, here is the 4th and 8 for Tennessee. The very next play. Let's see how Florida lines up this time. Florida, again, going to stay too high here, so they're going to play this safe on 3rd down and 8. We're going to play advantages in the numbers. However, take a look at what Florida does. We're going to bring just 1. Nope, we're going to bring just 4. This is a nice example of a simulated pressure. Florida's actually not bringing any extra man. This is not a blitz that we're going to drop into these throw windows that Tennessee likes to go to, right? Nice work here. That's Justice. Quickly coming back, closing off this slant route. That ball's not there for the window that he wants to have it at. This is a very nice play design. Take a look. Taking that away, taking this away, over the top on it. This is the ball perhaps he wants to hit here. But what you're counting on, this is what he's looking at right now, by the way. He's looking at this ball, which is here. But what you're counting on is the simulated pressure is going to mess up Tennessee's offensive line. And in fact, it does. Burney gets home, right? Burney's going to just get home here, right here. He's going to throw the running back off. I mean, just launch the running back off and then strip sack, stop on 4th down. So really nice play design. Let me show it to you from the TV angle so you can see it zoomed in now that you know exactly what happened here. Here's your simulated pressure. Drop, drop. Just 4 guys are coming, right? We're sending them right through the A-gap here. Burney's going to get nice contact on the center, then crush the running back here. Bam, get out of my way, eat him up. Again, Burney, a very athletic guy, although he really struggles in many facets of the game, especially as offenses kind of run things at him or finding the right gap. He's a very good outside linebacker when it comes to just being an athlete. And obviously, he's a guy you'd like to really just employ in that role. But Florida being so deficient at linebacker, I think has given him many more snaps than they probably would in a scenario where maybe if you had a Hopper and a Miller, then you can selectively use a guy like Burney for things he is actually very good at, which is a nice example here. So Florida gets off the field on 4th and 8, and Florida with a lead 14-10. This was probably the drive of the game. It changed, I think, the complexion of the game. Florida now up 14-10. Tennessee had started on their 1-yard line. They got a 1st down. It's now 1st and 10. Florida's still going to play, right? Going to play safe up here in the 2 high. Going to try to keep everything in front of them. Going to see if Tennessee wants to pass the football here with 1 minute and 48 seconds left. Tennessee with all 3 timeouts left. We want to see what they want to do. And Tennessee does want to pass into this, so Florida at an advantage. We're 2-on-1 up here. We're 3-on-2 down here. And now we're going to get some pressure. Take a look at Chris McClellan here. He's going to beat his man again to the outside. The running back has to come help. He's going to shove him off as well, driving towards the quarterback, right? This is what you want to see. This is a big freshman here making a play. Cox now doing his job, staying on the edge. And then here comes Ventrell Miller, putting pressure on and making this an incomplete pass. So this is good stuff from Florida. They were able to get pressure up here 6v8. If you can get this 6v8, again, Alabama will frequently employ this exact style against a team like Tennessee, and they'll be able to do so because they have superior talent. They can still play safe back here, and they can stop this, which will allow them to be successful. Florida, again, had moments of this, but also had moments where, of course, this didn't work. But on this particular play, it certainly did. 3rd and 10 from Tennessee now. Florida had called timeout. Tennessee had 3 timeouts. Florida had 1. Florida calls timeout. We discussed in the podcast whether that timeout was good or bad. Spoiler alert, I think it was a great timeout. I think Florida needed to be aggressive there, try to get the ball. Tennessee has the ball now, was also going to have the ball starting the second half. And perhaps if you're in the camp that Florida definitely should have let the, quote, clock run out, Tennessee came out trying to score. They threw the ball on 1st down. I showed you that. They were not content to just run it. It's highly likely they were not going to run the clock out anyway. So it wasn't like they were going to take this 3rd down snap and run it down to 1 minute. It's far more likely they were still going to try to score. So by Florida calling timeout here, they're preserving as much time as possible. So if they can get a stop, which they had just gotten last drive, Florida gets the ball back with a chance to increase their lead. Lastly, and quite simply, if you think that Tennessee is going to be scoring 4 points per possession, you're going to need to score, X amount of points per your possessions every single time, and therefore getting the ball back and trying to score at least a field goal before the half would have helped Florida in that instance. But either way, I like this timeout. I think when you have Tennessee in this situation, which they're not in often, you've got to try to make a stop and capitalize, and you want to do that with as much time as possible. As much time as possible in this regard. Either way, this play is not going to work. Let's look at the play design and discuss it. So Florida here is going to elect to play zone, but we are going to have the right zone on here, right? Here it is, simulated pressure. Simulated pressure, going to drop back again into these throw windows. There we go. Simulated pressure into the throw windows. Cox comes flying through the middle. I love using Cox in this role, right? Super athletic. Look at the get off there. And he's just, he comes in too hot. Something Cox always seems to do in these moments. If I could get Cox to slow down 15% in these scenarios, I think he'd have 4 or 5 more sacks per season. He's got to slow the motor down. Sometimes it's more important to not go so hard and be able to stay in front of the quarterback. So if he makes some moves, you sack him. Instead, he goes by him. That's unfortunate because this game could be a lot different if Cox makes that play. But then Hooker does a very nice job here to keep his eyes downfield, to reset and to make this throw where Dean is there, but he's not quite close enough. Now, Dean on this play here, you can't see him. He's going to fade out of the camera. He sees this in route coming. His job is to stop that route. And as we've seen on film before, and I hope this changes in the near future, Florida safeties often play this sort of contained style defense. In reality, once you see Cox getting pressure here, he got to be coming down and making this play, right? Look at that. He's stopping all of his momentum. You can see him here on your screen. He's not going anywhere anymore. Come down here and get yourself a pick six. But instead, as Florida is too just prone to doing, the safeties are sort of behind the play, watching it happen and content to make a tackle here. Ideally, there it's time to make a play. Trust your instinct, trust your read, trust the route, get in there, pick six that or break that up. Unfortunately for Florida, Tennessee converts this, and that is going to be costly. All right, very next play, 1st and 10. Florida going to rotate Torrance down now. Tennessee knows they have one-on-one on the edge over here against Florida's best corner, Jason Marshall, who's been very, very solid. Marshall's going to just lose, and you're not going to see this, unfortunately. I can't show you the technique that goes on. But Marshall's going to basically open up to the inside, pinning him to the sideline, which he should, but he gets no contact off the start and does not get a great launch step, which puts him in trail the entire time. And this is a great play. Look, at the end of the day, Marshall's beat here for sure. But in college, this is a phenomenal play. Sell out, full dive, secure the catch. I mean, that's a great play. And sometimes in football, it's going to happen. If you play man-to-man, you're going to get beat sometimes. And that's just part of the game. Nothing wrong here. This is how I wanted Florida to play. I would have wanted Florida to play cover 0, where more plays like these would have happened. So this happens. But a great play by Tennessee. And this again, begins to kind of change the complexion of this football game in Neyland. 2nd and 7, Florida again right here going to elect to play a pass advantage defense. There's 30 seconds left, perfectly reasonable to do this. They're going to play just 5 in the box, and something we have seen Florida get hurt by already is going to get hurt again. Miller letting him know, rotate down, I'm going to pick your man up here. This is good communication, well executed here. Check mark here. Now it's just 4 defensive linemen. It's just those 4. We can't lose control already. We see Powell put himself out of the play. So there's 1, right? And then we see Dexter coming in. He thinks he's got a shot at the quarterback. So we're going to go ahead and put ourselves out of the play. And now Big Dez can't get off this fast enough, and this is going to become a huge gain for Tennessee. Now, this is stuff in college that happens a lot. This happens even in the NFL. But in the NFL here, your pass rushers know the situation. They understand as soon as they see this motion is cleared out that the linebacker is going over into pass defense as well. They know that right away. They understand that they have to contain this and they have to keep this as an umbrella. In college, oftentimes it doesn't happen. You see it happen right here. And again, this is just unfortunate. This is a loss of discipline, right? A loss of discipline here by Florida. Something that's going to have to get cleaned up in the future if Florida wants to be competitive at the top level. All right, 1st and goal for Tennessee. They have no timeouts left. They're in a very interesting position here. Florida probably expecting pass. Florida is going to play an aggressive cover 0 here. Aggressive cover 0. Moore matched up here one-on-one. He knows he has to let him come inside because he does have help. These are all helpful players for him on the inside. Miller is going to be his underneath player. And unfortunately for Moore, Miller just for a second here holds up. Just for a second holds up. He doesn't need to hold up. This is not his job. He's not coming down in here, right? We don't need that. We've got Burney coming in here who's leaving his feet when he shouldn't be leaving his feet. But besides that, if Miller doesn't hold here, if Miller just keeps doing his job and stringing this out, maybe this play is different. I'd like to think it would be different because he had a lead on him till he's slowed up, and Moore is right here. But this is just a good football play, right? So can we be perfect here with Miller? Sure. This is a good football play. It's a great ball on the run. Devin Moore is right there. This is going to happen sometimes in football. These are the kind of plays you want to be giving up, and if a team gets 20 or 21 of these plays on you in a game, they deserve to win. So no problem with this. This is just a nice play by Tennessee. Quality work by them here. Nice play by Hooker. All right, 2nd and 4 coming out of halftime now for Tennessee. And we're going to see a problem that's been plaguing Florida's linebackers is if you're going to get close in here to the action, you don't want to trap yourself. Now, part of the problem here is that you can see Tennessee's offensive line is getting a nice push here. They're moving up a yard or two on the line of scrimmage. And if you're able to hold the line of scrimmage, then your linebacker has the space it needs to move over and get into the gap. But in this case, either way, you'd like to see Ventrell hold this here so he can still scrape across to get into the gap. He's going to trap himself essentially in this play. We've seen Florida's linebackers do this just far too often. And that leads to this play where now we're making a move on Torrance, who's definitely traditionally a great tackler, right? I mean, he's right here for this, and he just misses this tackle. And now we're off to the races. There's Helm, who can't get there. There's Bernie. Again, Bernie, a linebacker, very athletic guy. On film, obviously, he does a lot of things that can be frustrating. But if Florida could just use him in the way that he'd like to be used rather than all the time, I think he could be a useful player in limited situations because he is so athletic. But huge gain for Tennessee here on a basic inside run. All right, 2nd and goal for Tennessee. Florida gets a penalty on Tennessee, which is going to work out here, and this is a long way to go to the goal line here. Another chance for Florida to get a stop. Florida going to line up in cover 1 man. Here's cover 1 man right here, except Florida's going to make some mistakes here in the post snap. Now, here's the issue. This looks like man, and it looks like we have 2 underneath players. We're going to send 4 again, something Florida has done trying to play max pass. However, we're going to get something wrong. This is either Jason Marshall's fault here because he thinks he's playing man and he's got an inside helper, or it's Bernie's fault and Bernie should be coming over here to take the running back. I'm going to go with Bernie there because Jason Marshall on film typically is never making mistakes like this. So I've got to presume that in this case, although Bernie's responsibility, of course, is to be an underneath defender, his primary responsibility, if the running back is on his side, is to make sure that he flows with him. So overriding responsibility, if you're a dropper as a linebacker, is to shadow the running back in this situation, if indeed Florida is playing man here with underneath zone defenders like this, right? Essentially, you can think of them as 2 robbers or 2 rats. That is the role that he has to play. He should be looking at him, which he is, and then he's not passing him off. Now he sees this in-breaking route, and this is why I'm telling you I can't know for sure here whose role this is. It's possible that if Florida is pattern matching this, that Jason Marshall, if his man steps in, right, this is how you read this. You're going to read the release of your receiver, read the release of the inside receiver. If he goes vertical and he steps in, this is going to be a pass off to your help defender, and you are going to stay here. That's one way to defend it. The other way is like we talked about, where they're just going to be in man, we're in man, we're in man, and we're in man here. This is your man. You're a dropper if he stays home. So if he stays in to block, you're going to drop here. As soon as he goes out, you're going to take him. Those are the 2 options. I don't know which one it is. All I know is it's wrong, and that leads to a super easy touchdown on 2nd and goal from more than 10 yards out. So another frustrating result for Florida's defense. Here's Justice Boone, 1st and 10 for Tennessee. Florida has scored a touchdown now, putting more pressure on Tennessee in this game. Look at that. That's Brenton Cox. Now we're back on Justice Boone. Boone's going to get a whole shot here. Great pressure on Hooker. Squeezing in right here, pushing the left tackle of Tennessee all the way into Hooker. Hooker seems dead right here. He squeezes out, and that's fine. Look, that's going to happen from time to time when you get that close to the quarterback. That's just frustrating, right? Explosive play by Boone, and now we're okay. Like, sometimes you're going to gain some yards on this. This is life. Trevez's job, if you've been watching these film breakdowns, is to do what? Make sure he takes the outside, right? Because he has help on the inside. See these guys on the inside? They can help him. Trevez's job is to do what? Stay on the outside. Trevez, what's your job? Trevez, your job is to do what? Stay on the outside. That doesn't happen. Now we're in trouble. One more time. Trevez does this. Trevez does this. tackle, 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 tackle. This is a 10-yard gain. Trevez doesn't. Trevez does this. There he goes. Missed by Shamar. Missed by Kamari. Off to the races. Huge gain. So again, we have one player here. No one's making a mistake right now. We have good pass coverage. Ventrell's over here underneath the route they want. We've denied them what we want. We got a 4-man rush. We actually collapsed this time and close. We have better gap control here. McClellan, of course, did not win his battle on this one. We almost have a sack. And now we're fine. Again, we're fine. This whole defense is expecting Trevez to push him here. One guy does something wrong. Huge play. Again, this is plaguing Florida. It really hurts Florida that the same guys tend to do this the most often. Trevez, Dean, obviously Bernie struggling with his spots at linebacker. At least Bernie does tend to make positive plays. It's hard to find moments when Trevez and Dean make a lot of positive plays. That's not picking on them. That's just a narrative of what the film is showing. It's showing you have certain guys on defense that are generally not adding anything, and you're only getting a lot of downside. So perhaps start playing young guys. This is a throwaway year anyway at this point in time. Let's get better for the future. We've seen a lot from these guys on film. Let's let some other guys put some stuff on film and see what happens. 1st and 10 for Florida. Florida going to play cover 1 man. Florida's going to switch this. This is fine. Again, a little Rip Liz concept, right, left, basically. If he comes to your side, come down and take him. Torrance is here. Kamari's here. Again, let's just play some 0. Just give me some 0. 0 with some pressure. 0 playing the line here. 0 helping on the inside. Pitt had a really nice plan with how they'd play 0, by the way. In this situation, Pitt would have kept Torrance right here. They would have moved him back here. They play 0 off. They pressed man. They pressed man, the widest receiver, and they played off man on the inside receivers, allowing them to play levels on defense, allowing them to switch if they needed to, but then most importantly, playing Tennessee's most normal routes, which would be these interior routes, by playing off man allows you to be much more aggressive on them rather than being underneath, where you might chase that route. So I would have liked to have seen Florida employ that. Again, we didn't do it. And again, a wasted safety here. Here's Kamari. He's going to be wasted because Torrance is going to get absolutely toasted right here. Wham! Toasted on this in-breaking route. If he's in 0, he's just squatting on this in-breaking route. He's trusting his corner to play instead. He's going to go with the deepest man, which is not even who Tennessee wants, because Tennessee wants this ball to a wide open receiver, and that's going to wind up being a big 1st down. All right, 1st and goal for Tennessee after Napier goes nuclear on the sideline for Tennessee, taking a 30-second timeout to get a play reviewed and getting like a 5-minute timeout instead, where eventually the play was reviewed and still said it stood, which it seemed like Tennessee was in anyway, so perhaps a moot point. But Florida gets caught here in a late shift, which is going to make them lose their leverage, get blown off the ball here pretty consistently, and an easy walk-in touchdown. Not a whole lot to see there. That's going to happen in those situations more often than not. After a just hurtful and unfortunate fumble, cruel is probably the right word, from Anthony Richardson, really unlucky. It should have just been a poor choice in running lane and a tackle for loss rather than the punishment that endured here. But Florida now going to come out again in cover 1, so they've kind of abandoned more of the 2 high look for the most part. They're playing a little bit more aggressively here. And here's Trey Dean. Here's Helm. So now we get a guy that's going to come out of the backfield here on a wheel. I'm going to play this in real time. And on TV, this is what you see. And there's Torrance again. Looks familiar. There's Torrance chasing it down. So a lot of people think this is Dean. I think it's potentially Dean. It's more likely Helm, but I can't know why. So this is not knowable, and I'm going to tell you why. It's possible here, right? It's possible here that Florida is playing a cover 3, and that's option 1. Florida's playing a cover 3. They have bought Dean all the way into the box, and if Florida is going to play a cover 3, then Marshall's going to drop back, Torrance is going to drop back, Helm's going to drop back, and they're going to wind up taking whoever comes into their zone. Right, here's kind of their zones here, 1, 2, and 3. And if that happens, then if this wheel route comes out here, and this is an in-breaking route, then Helm sits on top of that wheel. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 is there in man. First of all, I like this a lot. Here's Perkins, a guy I like a lot. And I like this technique, something we've talked about before. If you get a stack set, jam the top guy, and then go to the back guy. Boom. That is perfect technique. That's what you want to do all day long. And now judging by this side, just this side, it certainly seems like they're in man. Now, you could also play man here on this side, rotate a safety down and play zone over here. So you could play a combo. There's a lot of things going on here. The reason I can't tell you for sure what's happening is the linebackers themselves are going to drop, which we've seen Florida do. You can do this, right? Florida's playing max protect on defense here when it comes for passing. Dropping. Dean is also dropping, so they sort of think they're playing maybe something like this, in which case Helm would have to be the cover 3 defender, and we would be okay. So if that's a cover 3, then Helm's got to let this in-breaking route go, and he goes here, and we're fine. That's Helm's fault. Helm has blown this. That's the first option. That's potentially the most likely option, but hard to know for sure. All right. The second option, obviously, is the Florida is just playing cover 1 man. Man, right here. Man, right here, right? Helm is on him, right here. And Dean is going to be on anyone that comes out here, or in this case, of course, the H-back. Dean sees the H-back. He sees him go. He steps with him, and then he lets him go. He opens up. Now, if Dean is correct, he's letting him go again because Helm is going here. If Helm is correct, Helm's on man. Dean's on the man. Dean should be running with him, and these are your 2 underneath defenders, right? That's the scenario. So once again, Dean is simply watching this. Is he wrong on this one? I can't say, right? Unless Napier calls my cell phone and tells me what the exact play was, I can't tell you. But it's definitely either Helm or Dean. But regardless, for the Florida Gators, which is a football team and a defensive unit, it's a blown coverage. And that's what's most important, right? Football's a team game. Although film is going to single out what individual players are doing things wrong, it's another missed assignment by Florida in a game full of things that obviously have been going wrong. All right, Tennessee up 31-21. A crucial drive here. Florida would love to get a stop, at least hold Tennessee to a field goal. We've seen some bad stuff from Bernie. We've seen some good stuff from Bernie. Florida, again, playing 2-on-1, 3-on-2, underman in the box versus Tennessee's 13 personnel. They have 8, we have 6. We've covered that before. Bernie, your job here is to make sure you're the edge defender, right? Here we go. Little counter action. Princely's going to get sucked in too far, which we've seen him do a lot, now get blown off the ball. But really what matters the most here is that Bernie's got to be watching the play, right, and he's the edge defender. Get out there. Bernie's really fast. That's why he eventually does get there, but it's 3rd down and 3. 3rd and 3. And we're high-fiving. Great stop, man. Trey Dean. Great stop, Bernie. That a boy. That's a first down, fellas. There shouldn't be any high fives. There should be frustration. It's a first down. Yeah, you made a tackle. Let's not celebrate tackles when they result in first downs. So Florida is needing to undergo a culture change on defense. I think that's what the film shows so far this season, is it doesn't seem like this unit really understands the point of playing good defense. And if I'm playing defense and I'm giving up first downs, I am not happy, even if I just made a tackle. I'm especially not happy if my responsibility is this. I should be shot out of a cannon over here to make this play. I'm late to get there. It's a first down for Tennessee. Stop me if this looks familiar. Tennessee with 8. Florida with 6. 2-on-1. 3-on-2. Bernie, stop me if this looks familiar. Please, stop me. Oh, my bad. I didn't stop the tape. Hold on. I can just go to the next play, right? Because here we go again. This is Bernie. This is your edge defender. And I want you to notice what Justice Boone does, a guy who's showing out on film very nicely. Engage. Don't be passive. Engage. Engage again. What does he do? By doing this, he forces the running back to come right into Bernie. If Bernie just gets in this gap, we're good. Now, I know Bernie's reading the H-back coming through here. I understand that, right? But you're the edge defender. You don't have any help over here. Make this play. Not going to happen. First down, Tennessee. All right, 1st and goal. Look at this. The Holy Grail has occurred. We are in a cover 0. Nobody's back here. Cover 0. We're loading up the box. We're matching their numbers exactly across the board. We're daring them to make a pass here on 1st and goal. And then we're going to make a read. This is Torrance down low. We're going to make a read here. He's letting him know, hey, you got him, and I got help if it's a pass on your inside. Okay? So don't get beat to the outside is what he basically tells him. I got your help on the inside. Here we go. Look at this funnel. Creates a funnel. Torrance eats this up. He's right on top of it. That's perfect defense. This play is dead. So again, but functionally cover zero. Rather than having a guy sitting here who's wasted where he can still run this route, he's sitting into that throw lane. Florida basically calls this play out perfectly. Here comes Boone again off the edge. And right up the middle comes Bernie doing what he does best, which is rush the passer. And Florida gets a sack. And yes, Bernie, you can high five on that one. That's a much better time to do it. Now it's 2nd and goal. All right, 31-21, 3rd and goal. Huge play here, 3rd and goal from the 5. Florida again elects what I like here, what I've wanted to see. We had success early. We're back in cover zero. Nobody's here. We're even numbers on this play. This play call's a little bit suspect to me. Tennessee's going to change their play. Motion, which has hurt Florida. They're going to motion. We're in zero. Again, we're in zero. Get in here. We're in zero. Right, we're going to stay off, which is why they make the motion. You can see now they get a numbers advantage. Right? So we were even numbers, but now they know it's motion in and see if Florida's going to get in here and play this aggressively or not. Or not, and Cox is going to come in hero mode again. Here he comes, hero mode, and when he does that, if he doesn't get there, we're in trouble. Right? We're in trouble. Here's Big Dez. Again, we're not scrape exchanging here. If we are, then Dean's not doing it right. Let's talk about that. If this is a scrape exchange, then Dean's not doing it right because he should be closely here following, which means Bernie should be following here. Bernie's late to this. Dean's now trapped on the outside where he kind of has to stay if that's him, and that's going to be a touchdown. So I can never know in this situation if we should be scraping exchanging. It doesn't look like it. It looks like we're sending Miller on an A gap, which then means Bernie needs to be able to swing around here. And if we scrape exchange, Dean would come like this. It looks instead like Cox potentially blows through his window here, which we've seen him do before. And then Bernie can't get there because he doesn't read the play well. And then that's going to be a touchdown. Again, Torrance winds up being wasted. Winds up being wasted by the motion play. Now Cox at this point in time looks at the sideline with his shoulders and arms up, kind of wondering, hey, like, what's the deal? And that's why I don't really know. Cox seems frustrated no one else was there right away. So I don't know. Again, sometimes on film I just can't know without the play. What I do know, though, is that's not executed well. Whatever Florida was trying to do, it was not executed correctly. Somebody did something wrong there. And that leads to another crucial touchdown on 3rd and goal on a play that Florida's in a perfectly fine defensive set to stop. But the finer details, right? The finer details of this just are not quite here yet. That's something we're going to want to see improve. By week 10 or 11 of this season, we hope to see less of this stuff and better execution. All right, 2nd and 2 now for Tennessee. 38-27, 3 minutes left. The game is still in question, although Florida, of course, chasing it. Here is Big Dez, the guy who seems to make it in on film review each week for making a play like this one. He's going to get doubled, except he's going to fight this double off. And again, in reality, it's a quick double right as 76 is working to get the linebacker next. But regardless, he's still doubled early. He holds his position, wraps him up right here at the line of scrimmage, wraps him up, and brings him down. Nice play, Big Dez, setting up a 3rd and 1, which then winds up being an offsides. A false start play, which is 3rd and 6. Then Florida jumps off sides. Then it's 3rd and 1. Then Brenton Cox, does too much of the simulating the snap scenario on defense because of delay of game. It's a 1st down, and that's where we're going to pick this back up. All right, 3rd and 4 for Tennessee. 1:24. Florida on life support here. But Florida's going to go cover zero again. Now, look, they know Tennessee wants to run it. Let's dare them to pass it. Cover zero. Here we go. Love the aggression. Tennessee under center. Motion here to bring some traffic, bring some jet wash in. Florida's going to handle this well. Dean comes up, which is nice recognition. You're now on the empty side. Come up in here. You're the edge defender. Good job, Dean. We'll give you props where props are due. Get out of the way here. If you're Moore, perfect job, Devin Moore, true freshman, doing everything right, what you want to see. Then let Big Dez eat in here. Here comes Dean holding the edge. Good job, Dean. This is how you do it. That's the right play. And there's Big Dez. Look at Big Dez in here. Watch him. Watch him work. Watch him work. Bam. Give him to me. Drive him back. Nice play there from Florida's defense. All right, 4th and 3 now for Tennessee. Game on the line. Florida, you're going to see rotating back here into a cover 3 style look. Here it comes. Into a cover 3 style look. I want you to focus first on the back end on this play because I do not like this play call. Why? because look at the space we're giving him, right? So here comes Moore. Moore's going to backpedal out of this. Dean is also backpedaling out of this. And we've got a play fake here on the jet sweep. And then we have a wide open Tennessee receiver here. Now, thankfully, David Reese is in his face. He can't get there. But this is 4th and 3. A conversion means the game is totally over. Like, this game is over, right? So we have got to cover him. We should be seeing Trey Dean all over him right now. The job of the safety is not to sit back here and watch what's happening and then come make a tackle. That's not your job, right? So we have a misunderstanding of what's happening in this football game, that we basically bailed out Moore to where he's covering no one, Trey Dean's covering no one. They're both just going to watch him make a tackle, and then the game's going to end. Shake hands, good game. Doesn't make sense to me there. The rest of this play, though, up front is actually very nice. So what's happening up here is really nice. We're going to bring Kamari Wilson down. Kamari's going to come in from a safety spot. He's going to blitz, right? And then Reese is going to come in here. This is the perfect play call as far as the front 8 goes here, because he's going to come in here, and now this is a little decoy. It's not actually blocking Reese. He's trying to slip out. And then Shamar is going to correctly read this, and we're going to pass off the jet sweep out here. So Florida does a really, really nice job in this part of the play. So this is a huge check. The back end, again, questions. Reese is going to be here. We're in good shape here. We've got this locked down. There's really nothing here. Shamar James all over this. Great technique. Wrap, make the tackle, try to deflect and separate, and hold this short of the first down. So nice job there, but still, Tennessee, again, this is wide open. Look at him. Wide open. You're going to see some shoes over here. That's Devin Moore's shoes. What are we doing? It's 4th down and 3. I don't understand. So that's going to bring us to an end of this breakdown. Florida, of course, has a thrilling comeback, which you can see on the offensive video. We fall short. But in general, Florida's defense, there's just so many things they need to get better on. It's going to be a long haul and a long season. The point of film review, though, is to chronicle this stuff each week, because by the end of the year, if this coaching staff is doing what it should be doing, we should have different personnel and we should have better stuff on film. They should get better over time. Maybe not every single week, because Florida's a significant work in progress on defense, but better over time. So we will see if that happens. I will be here each and every week to bring it to you. And as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate all of your support, feedback, commentary, and the time that you spend watching these videos. Until next week, I'm James from the Gator Nation Football Podcast.